all of us have a certain challenge to really think about what am I supporting? What am I giving myself to? Uh, and am I doing so out of conscience? Am I really standing up for what is right, what is true? Or am I just doing what is without reflecting, without really thinking deeply about what am I standing for if I support X, Y, or Z? And of course, this is a relevant issue for the Family Federation because, the organization formerly called the Family Federation for World Peace, which now I believe has the name the Heavenly Parent Church, or anyway, there are so many new names going on. It's hard to keep up. But anyway, just I really want to talk to you about this today. And so, first of all, let us look at a video. It's a selection from a speech that Hak Ja Han gave on May 8th, and that was celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Holy Wedding in 1960. So let's play this 2-minute selection.
For 54 years, true parents have been running this marathon.
2013년
And in 2013,
1월 13일
on January 13,
기원절
true parents proclaimed
누가 했습니까?
Foundation Day. And who guided everyone into the finish line?
참 어머니만이 올인했습니다.
Only true mother crossed the finish line.
그래서 나는
That is why
천일국을 선포했습니다.
I proclaimed
원년을
Chanilguk.
선포했습니다.
I proclaimed the first year of Chanilguk. And
아버님을
then
위해서
after, for the sake of true father,
하늘
for
부모님
3 years before heavenly parent,
긍휼과
I
용서와
offered
사랑을
devotion in the morning, asking heavenly parent to show compassion, love, and
지상에서
embrace all of humanity, because true father's
합니다.
mission was to see the perfection of the providence on the earth. Earthly life takes precedence.
그래서 나는
That is, however, the complete realization of God's will on earth was not fulfilled, and that is why for 3 years I offered devotion in morning. And after 3 years, this is what I told True Father.
하늘 부모님 앞에
Before heavenly, please
자유로워지십시오.
be free from all earthly responsibilities and ascend to the spirit world and receive glory forevermore. I will fulfill
그랬습니까? 안 그랬습니까?
responsibilities on the earth. Did I do that or not?
중요한
Yes. The earthly life is important.
나와 함께
Today,
숨을 쉬고
all of you are living, breathing together with me. You have no idea how important this moment is.
이번
This is a really remarkable statement by Hak Ja Han. You could write a whole book on this, a 2-minute statement, at least 1 or 2 books, at least, if not 10 or 20. Because essentially she's saying that father failed. She's saying that, even though, think about this, she's saying she proclaimed the first year of Chanilguk in 2013. But actually, father did that in 2009. So she's saying that father failed. She's saying, think about this. She's saying only I, the only begotten daughter, crossed the finish line. She's saying that father failed. And why was she in mourning for 3 years? Because she's saying that father failed, that father could not see God, and that for 3 years she had to do mourning for his failure, and then finally he could receive glory. Think about what she's saying. And think about this. She's always saying that true parents are one, right? So if true parents are one, why is only she crossing the finish line? If they're truly one, shouldn't they both cross the finish line? No. She's saying only I crossed the finish line. You have to understand what she's saying. She's saying that father failed. Now, if you want to believe that, if you want to accept her new theology, that father failed, and that when father declared the first year of Chanoguk in 2009, he was not qualified to do so, and that when father prayed in his last prayer that everything is finished, that he accomplished everything that God asked him to do, that father was lying. You have to understand that Hak Ja Han is calling Sum Young Moon a liar. Now, if you want to believe that, if you want to believe and agree with Hak Ja Han that father lied when he prayed that he had completed everything, and that father was not qualified to meet with God when he passed the spiritual world, and that she had to do 3 years of mourning in order for him to be accepted by God with forgiveness because of his alleged failures. Family Fed leaders, if you truly believe that, then you should let people know, because I cannot believe that most unificationists who followed true parents for more than many cases 4 decades or more, 3 decades or more. I don't think many unificationists would agree with that. But that's what your leader of your new church with your new theology is saying. Now, you can pretend that you didn't hear what I just said. You can pretend that she didn't really say what she said, but I'm going to give you more evidence today. So you cannot run away and pretend and hide from what the leader of your new heretical church is saying. And you may think that when you receive some juice, purple juice in a cup, that you're being grafted into God's lineage, but it has nothing to do with true father. The purple juice that you may be drinking on the joyful day of your marriage, which you are intending and thinking, I'm connecting to God's lineage through this ceremony and by drinking this holy wine, what you think is holy wine. Whose lineage are you engrafting yourself into? Well, it must be the lineage of Hak Ja Han, who says that true father is a liar, that true father is a failure. That's whose lineage you're engrafting yourself into. Now, I am very sorry to say this. I don't want to say this. But don't you think it's better if you hear it now, when you have a chance to correct your mistake? You can actually get you can be engrafted into true father's anointed lineage. It's not too late for you to correct your mistake. But don't let your leaders lie to you. Your leaders, if you really think about what Hak Ja Han is saying, if you don't run away from what she's saying, then essentially she's saying that anyone who believes that Father was victorious, that true Father was victorious, that true Father completed his mission on earth, that he was victorious, is a liar. You have to decide. And I know you, anyway, I just could go on, but I think you get the point. Okay, let us play the next video, which is later on in the same speech. She, at 39 minutes, let's play that segment.
Circle from starting with the spring and then completing everything and coming back to spring. And that is why all events, even a true Parents' Day,
부모님의 날도
even Heavenly Parents' Day, will be celebrated on March 16. All holidays will be celebrated on March 16.
왜 그렇게 돼야 되는지 아까 내가 설명했지.
I explained before why this is taking place. You have not forgotten what I mentioned, isn't it?
출발이
The start of Heavenly Parent Day is akin to spring.
겨울 동안에 다
And
준비하셔가지고
in the winter, God prepared, and in the spring, flowers are blossoming, and in the spring, new shoots of hope are blossoming.
인류 앞에 하늘
And that is why before humanity and all of heaven and earth, the greatest day in history will be March 16. Do you understand?
앞으로의 행사는
Henceforth,
그렇게 할 겁니다.
Events will take place in this fashion.
알겠어요?
Do you understand?
기뻐요?
Are you happy?
감사해요?
Are you grateful?
사랑합니다.
I love you all.
Puppets, the little robots that are clapping like little dolls, like little robots. Okay, and she actually has to ask people to clap. She actually tells people when they should be clapping, when they should be. It's very interesting to me. It's not just a speech, by the way. In many of her talks, she actually has to tell people, you know, aren't you grateful now? Shouldn't you be clapping? Don't believe me. Look for yourself. Look for yourself and see what. Now, what is she saying? She's saying that there's some ambiguity. She says we will celebrate Heavenly Parents' Day on the 16th day of the third month, which is the day of the Holy Blessing, and then she also mentions other holy days. So, in any case, the main point is, look, I believe that the 16th day of the third month in 1960, I believe that was a a very important day. I do. But it has a completely different meaning than what she's saying. Because she's saying that that was the day when Sun Myung Moon's original sin was removed by marrying her. Okay, that is what she teaches, and I will show this to you in a minute. She and it's quite interesting. She's declaring this wonderful day of spring, of victory, and meanwhile, we have the COVID-19 viral infection killing people all over the world, causing havoc and destruction and famine Do you know that hundreds of thousands of people all over the world are starving to death because of the way governments have responded to this COVID-19 infection? Think about it for a second. That's not a day of spring for them. So it's a little bit, I mean, if I look at the world today, I see a lot of tribulation. I see a lot of God's judgment. I don't see the victory that she's talking about. And maybe the judgment and the suffering and the death is judgment related to her rebellion against God, her rebellion against true Father Sun Myung Moon. That's what I see. But hey, don't believe me. Don't believe me. Check it out for yourself. Brothers and sisters, find out who you are associating yourself with. Find out what she says about important issues. Not just who you have as Facebook friends. Not just who you like to hang out with at church. And I know that many brothers and that I know, they say, well, I'm teaching divine principle in Colorado or wherever you live. Yeah. You may be teaching divine principle, which says that the Lord of the Second Advent was born in 1920, but that's not what the leader of your church is saying. She's not talking about someone born in 1920. That person, according to her, was born with original sin just like everybody else. And that person, when he went to spiritual world, was a failure. That's what she's teaching. Wake up. Wake up. Think about who you're following. I have to give her credit. She has a lot of guts. She has a lot of guts to say the abominable, horrible, insulting things that she's saying about Father. She has a lot of chutzpah. She really does. But it's not. It's the opposite of what Father said. She's a usurper. She's using the foundation that her husband built and that she helped. I don't deny she helped, but that her husband was shedding his blood to achieve. And she's taking the credit and calling him a failure. What a shameful, evil person that is. What a shameful, evil person she is. Wake up. Wake up. Ask yourself who you're following. Ask yourself that. Okay, now I want to read a summary. So let's get the Word document up. And the title is Hak Ja Han Erases True Parents' Day. And it may be she's actually erasing other holy days and just celebrating them all on the 16th day of the third month. Okay. We'll find out. Okay, but let me read this to you. The Han mother also told those who gathered on May 8th that from now on, no more True Parents' Days will be celebrated. Instead, the day that matters to her, the one on the 16th day of the third month, commemorating the holy wedding of true parents, will be celebrated. It makes sense if you think about it. She teaches that she was born sinless. On July 1st, 2014, at the Chunjeongun Palace, she said, quote, "The process of changing the lineage occurred while I was in my mother's womb. This is something that you have to believe." Okay. The process of changing the lineage, she's talking about changing from satanic lineage, fallen lineage, to God's lineage occurred in her mother's womb. She's saying she was born sinless. Okay. And she also teaches that on the 16th day of the third month, 1960, she forgave Sun Myung Moon's original sin. On December 30th, 2016, Mother said at a meeting at the Chuncheongun Palace with 200 wives of families who received the holy blessing between 1960 and 1968, quote, "Father, who was born with original sin, could have that original sin removed as a result of meeting me, the only begotten daughter, born into this world without original sin. Father was not supposed to marry any other woman before meeting me." Okay, so here we go. Father did not know what he was doing when he married his first wife. He didn't know what he was doing. He was not guided by God in that marriage, which unfortunately that wife also betrayed him. Father didn't know what he was doing. He was not guided by God. Essentially, she's really saying that Father was not the returning Lord Christ, Lord's second advent. Look, if you want to believe her new theology, go ahead. It's your choice. But just be aware of the choice that you are making. Don't deceive yourself that you are following the same faith and teaching or even the same divine principle. I know she has a lot of her theologians rewriting the divine principle right now. Wake up. Look, I believe in free will. You want to follow her new religion? Go ahead. But don't deceive yourself in thinking that you're following the same teaching that True Father taught his entire life. Don't deceive yourself. Okay. Anyway, I go on. There's more here about the other holy days, such as October 14th, which is the day the Holy Spirit Association was founded, and that was a day that Father was liberated from the Hungnang death camp in 1950 when she was 7 years old. Okay, but she knew everything when she was 7 too, I'm sure. Certainly she does not want us to remember why the perfection level blessing could not be performed in 2011, even though leaders from all over the world had already gathered to observe it. Okay, leaders from all over the world traveled probably at great expense, particularly from very poor nations in Africa and many nations around the world, and they were told that this is going to be a history-making event and that they needed to be there. But then when they got there, it was canceled. And Father said, we cannot hold the perfection level blessing, and you have to come back next year. We will have the perfection level blessing 1 year from now. Think about how disappointed they were. And why was it canceled? It was canceled because Father knew that his wife was not united with him, didn't really believe in him, didn't respect him, thought that he was a failure even then. She's actually saying now, publicly, what she was saying to Father in private. That's why Father canceled the perfection level blessing in 2011. But we don't want to hear about that. No one wants you to think about that. I guarantee your so-called leaders don't want you to think about that. The erasure of True Father's words, lineage, and traditions is now complete. If you think about it, it's actually fitting that all the church leaders' mouths were covered by COVID-19 masks. Actually, it's very appropriate because they're just parrots who repeat whatever they're told. As noted in an essay by Nicholas Butel, exactly 1 month before his ascension, True Father had his last Hundake meeting where he spoke about his wife, as discussed in a short Korean language video. Nicholas writes, on that day, August 3rd, 2012, he clearly stated that, quote, Mother threw away all the foundation. And the Korean word also means root or base. When you watch his gesture while saying this, you can see that he is truly upset and sad, whereby he is turning his hand to express what he is saying. Everything was thrown away by his wife. By turning his wrist 180 degrees, he's showing what she has done to reverse everything. At that time, Father knew already more than anyone else what was in the heart and mind of his wife, that she was out to change everything to the opposite. That attitude became clearly visible in the years that followed, where she put herself up as the true Savior who liberated the Lord of the Second Advent from his sin, setting herself up as the sinlessly born, only begotten daughter who is the so-called true mother of the universe. At that final public meeting, Father asked a question, who is the owner? Who is the head? He emphasized, woman cannot be the head. This all became upside down. If you speak Korean, you can see the kind of language True Father used when he expressed his disdain about what his wife had done. She threw away the grandfather and the grandson. Obviously, Father was referring to himself as the grandfather and his grandson Shinjanim, who lived with true parents at the time. In 7 short years, we have to admit, Hak Ja Han has succeeded. She has succeeded in declaring a fake history that is apparently accepted by the silent sheep in the Holy Parents' Church. How shameful and sad. But hey, it's your life. That's your church now. That's the church that you support. That's the church that you're leading people to when you witness. When you teach divine principle and bring people to the fake blessing, where they engraft themselves not into the lineage that is connected to True Father Sun Myung Moon, what are you really doing? Okay. Let us, that's all I want to say about this topic, okay? I don't want to start cursing now, so I'm going to stop right now.